clap your hands and sing along with me. How do you do, everybody? How do you do? How do you do, everybody? How do you do? Oh, you come to gym for fun and we'll get you on the run.
Hello, my name is Marlene and this is the Little Gym at Home, and welcome to the Sensory Festival of the Little Gym. Over the next few weeks we are going to show you how you can, with household items, create a really lovely sensory playground for your little one at home. We know in the gym we have so many cool pieces of equipment that we can use to help with that sensory development, and we don't want you guys to fall too far behind until we can make it back in there. Please just remember that every child has different experiences, they have a unique body and a unique brain, and therefore they interpret the world and experiences completely differently as well. You need to be a sensory role model. If you don't like something or you find something a bit gooey, please do not pass your judgment onto your little one. You have to act as an enthusiastic tour guide on your sensory playground. Now for today, we are going to need a beach towel so we can start our warm-up. So why don't you go and fetch your beach towel and I will meet you back here for a warm-up. Welcome back. Once you have your beach towel or a sheet, I want to see if you can anchor it in under some legs of your chair so that we can kind of make our own little parachute game, just like we did a few weeks ago. And what we can just start with is just kind of waft it a little bit in front of our little ones. This gives them a really lovely experience to allow their retinas to stable on that moving object and to just track it slowly up and down. We go up and we go down, up and down. There we go. That's really a really lovely sensory experience for our little friends. Once we've done some up and down, we can see if we can make some faster little waves. We can say, watch the waves. And making the waves go gives them a nice experience for cause and effect. Still gives them a great experience to watch what happens to the towel. And then we can go sideways from side to side, smiling wide, side to side, just like that. And after some sideways action, we can even see if we can spin the towel around. We can go sideways and around to the right and stop. And we go to the left and we stop. There we go. Just a few simple, fun things that you can do to help your little one focus in on the object that's moving, allow them to track it to help with the visualization skills. After we've done a little bit of that, we can pull out the towel from underneath the chair and we can just make a little mat for ourselves. A little bit like having your little yoga mat area, something nice and colorful and bright for them to know this is the zone where we're going to be working on. I don't know if you guys remember a few weeks ago we were practicing the step and the slides, and we tell them that we're stepping and sliding. Look how I'm holding their little bodies around the waist. And when I go to the right side, I want to make sure that I can also go to the left side. And we go step and slide, step and slide. There we go. We also did a bit of crossing over in the front. Do you remember this one? We're stepping over in the front, crossing over the midline. And of course, we could also do the stepping under where we cross the midline at the back. Look at them apples, that is wonderful. And stepping under, that is perfect. Right. If they've done a lot of stepping and sliding, the other lovely thing I would like for us to practice and review is just my standing and my weight bearing. For my little friends that can already stand, that has got strong enough hip flexors, you can kind of move that into a bit of jumping. But if your little one is not quite at that point where they found their center of balance, a really lovely way to help them to stand is to kind of play this game of how low can you go. So I'm going to start around the hips with my hands here, see if I can get them to stabilize, stand nice and strong. If I feel like this is a really good little point for them where they found their sense of balance, then I move my hands a little bit lower down the hips, and see sometimes your baby will respond and keep their cores and hip flexors so engaged and strong that you can move your hands all the way around their thighs. Now please remember, you want to be awake here or have a nice soft cushion in front of you, that if they do go fall forward, that they've got something nice and soft to land on, or if you feel like they're going, just make sure that you stop them in front with your hands. But this is a really fabulous way to develop a nice strong core, nice strong hip flexors, and to help them to find their sense of balance or their center of balance and gravity by just doing that. The other nice thing we can do in this position, like I said, is just a bit of jumping. We know that these guys will, from about 18 months, they might start to actually copy you when you do a bit of jumping. They will start to lift up their feet 1 foot at a time. Remember, when we tell them to jump, we tell them that they're landing on their feet every time they come down. Because what we're working on is on my bilateral coordination. These guys need to understand they come down and they land on both feet. If you feel nice and strong, if you've had your good spirulina breakfast smoothie, then give them a bit of a hop in the air. Allow that serotonin, feel-good hormone release. Gives them a nice little sense of like, oh, this is exciting for them and this is really, really fun. Right, so just double-footed jumping, just like that. Right, the other skill that I would like for us to review that we've done a few weeks ago was my baby swing. Remember, for this one, I'm gonna start by letting them sit on my knees like this. I'm going to let the foot soles squeeze nice and tight. I'm gonna stick my arms in under their armpits. I'm gonna lean forward and we're just gonna do a swinging baby. Just from side to side, just like that. There we go. This is a really nice activity to really help these guys to stabilize their hip flexors. So there we go, sit them back, give them a nice clap, give them a hop on their nose if you like, and just repeat with me. And let's swing them side to side again. Like we've mentioned before many times, if you have a mirror and you can do this with your little ones in front of a mirror, that's always a really lovely experience for them. Look how my wrists is under their little armpits. Watch how I squeeze the feet together so that I can give them a really lovely little swing. Okay. The other activity we would love to review is my wheelbarrows. Remember, we talked about this a lot at the at-home episodes. We want to make sure that we give them the opportunity to really weight bear on their arms for lots of nice strong bones. So remember, for this one in the beginning, if you've got a little baby who's still not sure that they can weight bear on their arms, they will tend to fly like Superman. But the more I hover, the more they will output. Otherwise, just guide their little arms down for them, guide the hands down. Watch how I have this hand nicely secure under the chest so that if they do lift up their arms, they don't go and smash the little noses. So I have them here. If you've got a nice strong birdie by this point who wants to walk and wants to get going, then this is a great opportunity for you to practice that wheelbarrow walk. Just gently keep your hands, your one hand under the chest to make sure that's nice and safe. And as you move them along, they will start to respond and they will start to walk. Really fabulous way for them to work on that bilateral coordination, getting them ready as well for when they have to start crawling. They will understand, what can my body do to get me into that crawling position. After we've done a little bit of the wheelbarrow walks up and down, and this is a nice way to get them nice and tired, I can also practice my depth perception and pull back. So here we can play a really lovely fun game where you can lower them to the ground and pull them back up. And you can say, where's the ground? Where's the ground? There it is, and you pull it back up. Again, in the beginning, if they don't put their arms out, it doesn't matter. You're working on that depth perception. They're watching the world going closer to them and further away from them. It doesn't really matter. But if the brain and the body makes the connection, then you will see they will start to output and they will block themselves on the mat like this, and then you can pull them back. Something really lovely that follows on from that is to just play a little game of peekaboo. So for this one, you can just hide them under the towel and just say, where is bear? Where is bear? Oh, there he is. Just a lovely simple game of peekaboo. Really, where is he? Where is he? Nice way to teach them a little bit more about that cause and effect. I'm hiding him, and there he is again. There we go. So I have just given you a whole lot of activities that you can do at home. Sometimes you will see that your little one becomes a little bit overstimulated with all the sensory experiences. And what is then really lovely to do is to remove all the sensory input and stimulation and essentially A great way to do that is to swaddle them like you would have when they were little babies. Roll them up nice and tight like a cocoon. This will make them feel nice and safe and will alleviate some of that sensory overwhelmness that they can sometimes feel. Give them a nice big snuggle and a cuddle. Now I'm going to show you how offering a very similar exercise experiences like we did in the warm-up, but with a completely different piece of material, give your little one a completely different sensory experience. In the warm-up we use a towel. Now I have a sheet of bubble wrap. We all have all those parcels that arrives probably daily on your stoop, and they all have bubble wrap in. So save the bubble wrap, and just by doing exactly the same like we did earlier, I now give them up and down experience, and it almost sounds like a rustly sound. So now they have to really engage their senses to hear what is the noise. Also the cause and effect, I move it and the sound creates. Up and down, again you can go side to side, and you can even make little waves to really make it rustle. Right, there we go. Always make sure that when we do lots of these sensory things with our little ones, they are always barefoot. We know that under the feet there's an enormous amount of neurons and sensory input stimulation points where we want to make sure that they can really feel what is happening under the feet. So they get all the information from the senses under the feet. So just by walking or standing on the bubble wrap, it offers them a completely different sensation and a different experience. What I can do over here is literally do exactly the same. Practice my standing, see how low you can hold them on the hips, really work with those little hip flexors. If you have something else that can give them an opportunity to practice stepping over or standing on, that would be really helpful. I, for instance, have a pool noodle. You might have a yoga mat that you can roll up or a towel. And all you want to do is just to create a little bit of an obstacle or something where they can see that it's a little bit higher. Helps us with my motor planning. I need to now figure out if I want to step over something or onto something, how high do I lift my foot? Look at all the visual stimulation, practicing stepping over. If you really want to challenge them, remember, just let them stand. See how they output. What happens when I just stand here? Well, I want to bend over and touch it. Am I brave enough to see if I can stand on it? Sometimes if you just move the first foot to initiate the movement, they might actually start to follow with a second foot. If your little one is not by the standing or the walking point of their development yet, you can just let them do a bit of tummy time here. This is a lovely way, keep them nice and propped up. They're nice and close now, so maybe those pointers might come out for them to feel what is happening here, what have I got in front of me. Something else that I can do is just grab a little bit of obstacles, maybe a toy, something that you can stick underneath as well. So any random bits that you can find, your keys, a ball, a cup, a bowl, stick it underneath and now see what happens when it is underneath the bubble wrap. Will they want to see if they can grab it? Would they just want to touch it? Can they maybe form their hands, activate the reflexes in the hands to hold on to it? Just let them see what happens when you do these little random things and put it out in front of them. Something else I can do is grab a nice cushion. If I have a cushion and I stick the cushion underneath, again, a completely different sensory profile, essentially. Can I just lie on top of it? Really lovely way. Can I rock forwards and backwards? Can we see if we can just bounce on top of the cushion, on top of the bubble wrap? It feels different. It sounds different. Can I practice my standing on the cushion? This is really challenging because the cushion is unstable surface. Now I have to work really hard to find my center of gravity, and I've got something that feels really different and funny under my feet. So really lovely way just to give them a completely different sensory experience again. After I've done a few of these fun activities, I can review my rolling. So now I'm reviewing my rolling on top of the bubble wrap. The first one I can do is just a little bit like we did in the warm-up. We can do a little bit of log rolling and see if you can roll them in the bubble wrap. Oh, that is a really lovely sensation and nice feeling. Make sure you keep it nice and far away from their mouths, of course. Wrap up the arms. How does that feel? I bet you grown-ups, if you feel a bit overstimulated and you roll yourself in a piece of bubble wrap, you might actually find it quite calming as well. I can also just do my normal little log rolling, where I am going to give them a nice big cuddle. Let me just remove some of my toys. I'm going to see if I can press up on my elbows like this, and then we roll from side to side, even if I just don't go all the way, but we hear the bubbles popping underneath us, just like that. There we go. So a little bit of log roll action. And finally, just to review my forward roll for my rotational skills, we can see if I can just practice my little forward roll and give them that sensation where we are rolling on top of something. There we go. So, and last one, just to review that forward roll, just to remind you how to do it. If you have forgotten, I'm going to see if I can stick in my hand underneath. I tilt them up and over. I tuck in the heads, I roll them. We don't want to just let them lie there. We either hop them up from behind, or you can come around and you can pull them up over the midlines. There we go. Now, who thought that with a piece of bubble wrap, you can do so many fun things at home? Enjoy. I think it will be very irresponsible to not also talk about sensory overload or overstimulation in a class or a session which is all built around sensory stimulating activities. We all know that sometimes sensory overload presents itself in very different ways. It can be a big tantrum at a family party, or you might want to go and meet their best friend, and all of a sudden when they meet the friend, they have a big row or a big fallout. That sometimes happens when we are sensory overstimulated. In today's world, which is full of flickering screens and technology, that happens really quite easily. And what we tend to do is to distract, is to actually add more stimulating things to the mix, where in fact, it's probably better to remove the things that can lead to more overstimulation or overload. A really great thing that you can use at home is, if you feel like your little one is getting very overstimulated, is to grab one of these tunnels. Some of you might have some of these tunnels at home. Like you can see, they form a really lovely safe space where little ones can go and hide in from the world outside. If you don't have one of these tunnels, you might have a big enough cardboard box. This cardboard box is pretty lame. It's boring. It's devoured of very bright colors. And right now, it's just a box. But sometimes, or when they get older, this box might turn into a play kitchen, a superhero den, because it's such a blank canvas. These little guys can add fun things to the mix later on in life. And when they feel a bit lonely, that might become their safe space, or their safe den, where they can go and hide from the rest of the world. So grab one of these boxes, even when your little one is quite young. If you have one of these boxes, and create a nice little safe haven or a safe den where you can go and stick them inside, and they can just kind of go and hide a little bit from the rest of the world. I promised you at the beginning of the episode that we can teach you how to use plain old normal household items to make some really fun sensory equipment to offer your little one some great new sensory experiences at home. So the first one I have is my little sensory bag. For all of these kind of things, you just need a very sturdy, strong Ziploc freezer bag. That's nice, that can really seal nice and tight. In here, we have some clear hair gel, and we've got some beads. If you do this, you will feel how nice and relaxing this is. What you can also do is put the hair gel in the fridge, or in the freezer even, for a little while, so it cools all the way down, and then that will give a nice new sensory experience for your little one, not just by feeling funny, but also feeling cold. So it introduces them to the different sensations of warm and cold. So this is one nice idea, which you can do. My favorite, and I use this at home, it's like my stress ball, is just shaving foam. Make sure, again, that your bag is nice and sealed. If you feel a bit nervous, you can always sellotape it and tape it up so that it's extra doubly sealed up. But this is like the softest, fluffiest stress ball you have ever experienced. And actually, the shaving foam smells quite nice too, if you choose a nice brand. So that gives another sensory profile as well for your little ones. Nice one for them to just play around with, for them to really, really develop those little hand muscles and all the little reflexes in the fingers. Nice and fluffy. Then over here on my pretend coffee table, we just have again another bag, and we have put some baby oil, water and food coloring in. This is a really lovely way. You can see how nice it kind of moves around here, how the liquid moves around. So once your little one can come and prop themselves up, they can watch how the liquid moves around, just like this. And again, by just pressing down on it, gives them a nice little fabulous sensory sensation in their little hands. Right, don't fear, I have another one. The British weather, that's so unpredictable. We can be Mary Poppins over here. Just a little umbrella. I've got some bits of string. In this case, we obviously had too much bubble wrap. We have ordered a lot of parcels over the last few days. You can put a few like balls on it, and we can just let our little ones sit. You can just dangle it around them. They can watch it as it go around. It's like a little merry-go-round. Look at that. Or I might even look like a jellyfish. Whatever you want me to be. I can take on very many shapes and forms. They can try to catch it. They can watch it as it fly by. Whatever and however they want to respond to it. One more for a bit of added value is the good old favorite washing basket. I'm just going to put some tinsel in it, and now I can let them stand, watch it. I can even stick them inside it. Make sure that they don't want to chew on the tinsel. They probably would, so be aware. But if they're in here, this is a really lovely way of problem solving. It's also like making a little spider web. So can I step over the tinsel? How do I get from one side to the other? Look at that. That's it. There you go. I hope this gives you a really wide variety of really simple, fun things that you can make at home. Bit of art and crafts for you, and some fabulous sensory experiences for your little one. I really hoped you enjoyed our sensory festival today. We're going to finish our class off with a little bit of singing and some bubbles. So just bop along and sing along with me if you're ready. There's a worm at the bottom of the garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo. There's a worm at the bottom of the garden, and all that he can do is wiggle all day and wiggle all night. The neighbor said, "What a terrible fright! There's a worm at the bottom of the garden, and his name is Wiggly Woo." Bye-bye, everybody. My name is Marlene, and this was the Little Gym at Home.
It's time to say goodbye.